Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the coloring drawing right here is like you got the Sun River color garden. You say coloring that based on the stories like Jaycee Dugard, Jaycee Lee Dugard. You say is still alive. You got right here is the letter J, which you say is the letter J, and then of course it could be as for letter D or letter A. It's like it's a symbol for it's like for a pine cone charm. And then right here you got the reading glasses along with the bookmark right there. It's like so for is it talking about it's like the views of the stars, and then the moon, and then of course it's like a bookmark for whatever part of the book that you read about. But of course, this activity is talking about is for for Sun River Garden is talking about it's like whenever if you were to actually do like a subject, which I don't know if anybody here remembers, but a lot of times what their favorite subject was. And of course that if any of us are familiar with like subjects like it's like science or language arts, history, sociology or geography, stuff like that, or of course music, lunch, recess, those type of subjects. But of course this activity right here is for Sun River Garden, and of course is like based on it's talking about different flowers in the world. And of course I had not write them all down, but you got right here is like different types of flowers from parts of the alphabet. And of course you got the baby breath, and then the Ostar, and then along with the some of them are, I guess you say, which I would not even be able to pronounce, the amaryllis, and then along with the rose, the bluebell, and the barbrush, and then so on and so on, buttercup. But you have these different flowers right here. And a lot of times with most of us here, that if you were to try to memorize every country in the world, or if you were to try to memorize maybe every continent in the world, or maybe try to memorize all the maybe all the presidents in the world, every president, every U.S. president, maybe every city in countries like Egypt or Libya or wherever, but to try to memorize the different flowers. And of course that whenever I was going to school, that that I don't remember any type of subject talking about this type of stuff, talking about different types of flowers, and then maybe the way that they are formed. It's like, I think would you say that more like a subject that maybe be in art or maybe science class, and which I think it is a type of life science. But basically what I got drawn right here is, of course, it's like to show everybody the from it's like from the talents that I have. But you got right here is these different shapes. You got it's like the little cross right here, and then like a little star symbol, and then a little circle that would represent the sun. But basically is it talking about is that you got North America, and you got South America, and you got the with the water, and then along with the sun, and along with the soil. But you also have Europe right here, Europe and Africa, and you also have Asia right here. But let's just say go ahead and use the green right here is to color in parts of North America. But any place if we've gone to other countries, that if we were to see different types of flowers, which I would say that there will probably be a few dozen flowers that interesting flowers to see. But you have it to where if you were to go visit other continents, it's like trying to memorize every flower type. But basically this activity comes from the fact about that trying to memorize all the flowers. It's like knowing about do the homework, would you say, of remembering every type of flower that there is, and every world type, every flower in the world, you say. And of course that I really don't know of a subject, but of course you got that Antarctica, but right down here, so you could see if you're Antarctica right here. But with the Antarctica, you would have Antarctica down here, but basically talking about is with the different flowers and stuff like that. That I call it it's like the Sun River Garden, and with the Sun River Garden, it's basically showing about that with the different flowers. If you study about the flowers, about how they grow, and in how many days, which to make math more exciting, is to know about the different types of flowers, and of course that it could be they can maybe be formed in different shapes and sizes and with the variety of colors it is. But of course you got the details right here that I went ahead and drew of is a river, and then of course it could be maybe a lake or a pond or something. But anywhere I guess where there's water and soil and sunlight. But you got right here is the detail right here of the sun, and then you got the sun right here. And most of us, if we've read the book before, that she talks about that about that her like whenever she liked the garden, and then maybe the types of flowers that she'd like to grow, which I would. Not even recall whatever flower it was, but more likely I'm thinking maybe the daisy, or it could be the sunflower, or maybe the tulip or rose or something. But I would probably say that one of my flowers, one of the flowers I did a lot of times that like to draw, of course, was like is like a rose, or it could be a tulip, but of course you have right here for Sun River Garden is basically talking about is like whatever the type of subject that I'll be good at it, and being so far as artistic goes, is that if you wanted to draw like a flower, or maybe talk about maybe how many days it takes for the flower to grow, such as you say it's like you got right here, it's like if I were to do the homework here, but you see that the flower would, so you go ahead and draw the petals right here. And then at the stem, the stem would grow at about, that, see here, it'd take about maybe 6 to 8 weeks, for the stem to grow. You got, the flower right here, the flower would grow, and then a lot of times when it would form the leaves. And then of course you have right here is the soil will be right down here, and then along with the roots. But of course it's like if most of us here would probably think that that math or science, maybe science was not really their favorite subject either. And I really think that the whole purpose about it is that I don't know if you really have to be good at a number of these subjects, such as reading, or maybe you don't really have to be good at it, but at least just try. But you say give yourself credit for how it's described, I guess in your own definition, your own words. But of course that this activity, which I went ahead and came up with right here, of about between if you were to do your homework and then do the research and then put together this activity such as Sun River Garden, is basically talking about the details that you would put into the artistic work of you add a river, and then you would add the details about it's like if there was any trees in the background, then you got the flowers, and then along with the bushes and stuff, and along right here is the sun. And of course in the amount of days it is that we could maybe think about that between that, subtract that, do like a little a mathematic type question that if there was like 7 days 7 days out of a week, and let's just say that how many days that if we were to do like a little math fact, it's like if we were to you do multiplication, or if it's addition type problem, if we were to to take a number, it's like the number that it'll be about 24 hours in a day. See here, about 48 hours, and 2 days, and then of course extend to 3 or 4 days, and I would probably guess that would be about 115, something like that, 100 20 30 20 40 60 80 and 90, and so that would be altogether how many hours are equal to 6 days, and my best guess is about 115 hours, and of course you could maybe do a calculate that on a calendar or something, but this type of activity right here put together is like for Sun River Garden. It is that a type of subject where you can actually be creative with that. If you were to be planting something that it could be carrots, or it could be celery, or flower, a few flowers, or maybe blossoms, or whatever you call it, that you can maybe do something like this to where that the stuff that you remember from whenever you learned in school, and then of course any creative mind that you can think about is like putting it together, just like a puzzle. That anything that comes to your imagination, it's like anything that comes to your mind is to draw it out. But so far as the story, as like we say, is like a stolen life. All right, here is like for Jaycee Dugard, Jaycee Dugard and the Sun River Garden Coloring.